You know, I wrote a column about asking President Obama, don't keep Tom Daschle in as your health czar. And it was less about the taxes, but it was more about his speaking fees from big pharma, from healthcare companies, over which he would have to preside, which he would have to deal with in crafting what we need, which is a universal healthcare plan. And I know Grand Rapids has many healthcare industries, much interest in that issue. My point is that Washington is going to take decades to fix. Barack Obama came in and he wanted to change the tone. You want to change the tone, you're going to need to bust open the system of campaign finance reform, the system of lobbying, the K Street nexus. You're going to have to push through even tougher laws, and he did push through some of the toughest ethics laws, though he waived in one or two cases and brought on a lobbyist. I think, you know, all governments need to be monitored. We need to be watchdogs in the press. We need to be honest about that. But that's a separate issue than the bipartisan issue. The bipartisan issue is Obama did reach out to Republicans. And he did bring them in, and there was discussion. And in fact, he, in my view, moved too far in the stimulus recovery to take into account their concerns. And as a result, we need a second round, a third round of recovery, because the first bill has too much tax cuts in it. You may disagree, and not enough real stimulus spending. That was a result of bipartisan compromise. Barack Obama is trying to change the tone of Washington. The Republicans have become, and I am all for a loyal second, opposition, but they have become the party of no. The budget they produced has no real numbers except the same old, more tax cuts for the rich, more tax cuts for corporations, when 2 out of 3 corporations between 97 and 2006 didn't pay income taxes. I mean, so we need to think hard about what dishonesty, real dishonesty, fundamental dishonesty in Washington means, and not excuse Barack Obama for picking people who have problems with their taxes, but just like the AIG, arrogant, irresponsible greed bonuses, are the tip of the iceberg. It's the money that's been pumped into these companies, which is a mistake. We need to look not at how some people haven't filled out their tax returns adequately, but what the underlying corruption in Washington is and how we repair that. And that's going to take citizen mobilization from outside and working to push Barack Obama's ethics regulations, which are the best and the toughest we've seen in decades.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Hello, my name is Ryan Van Antwerp from Granville Close-Up. In my business class, we were learning about something called the paradox of thrift. The idea that in order for companies to expand and create more jobs, they need to sell more. But in order for consumers to buy more, they need better jobs. My question is, how do you think we can go around and defeat this paradox?
Well, a couple things. First of all, just on the issue of taxes, Tim Geithner, I mean, it wasn't an oversight. He deliberately cheated on his taxes. He knew exactly what he was doing, and it just sends a terrible signal that the Obama administration stuck with him, that Democrats stood by him, and even most Republicans thought he was such an indispensable man that it was okay that he cheated on his taxes. And it's just wrong to send the signal that we have a two-tier system in this country where the powerful, rich, and connected can get away with not paying their taxes, and you have to pay your taxes. And believe me, you're going to pay more and more of them in coming years because of Obama's program. And when it comes to Washington corruption, Katrina's right. You want a good example of it? Chris Dodd. He gives you a great idea of how Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac worked. This was inside dealing at his worst. These things, it was somewhat bipartisan, but it was mostly Democrat, were a cash cow for politicians and insiders. They took huge risks because they had an implied government guarantee, and then they funneled their money back to the politicians with campaign contributions and with special favors given to insiders like Chris Dodd. The paradox of thrift, look, I think people are scared right now. They need to have their, they need their kind of bottom lines to heal. They're going to save more money, and they should save more money. And there's a natural cycle at work in a recession, and it's extremely painful, but eventually the housing market is going to hit bottom, and then people who unfortunately never truly owned their homes in the first place, because a lot of them put nothing down, a lot of them couldn't afford them, and they're basically renting them now. They will leave their homes, and people who are more responsible and are now renting will begin buying homes, because the price will be within reach again, and then the housing market will start to recover. You're seeing prices fall. Eventually, people are going to start buying more. There's a natural process at work as long as it isn't short-circuited and as long as we don't create huge problems down the road, which is exactly what Barack Obama is doing by creating a huge inflation risk and by creating levels of debt that his own advisors say are unsustainable.
Next question.
Hi, my name is Jordan Conrad, and first of all, I want to thank both you two for coming tonight. And I have a question for Katrina. You referred to Barack Obama's plans to nationalize the banks numerous times as being democratic, making them democratic. And I may have a misunderstanding of the term democratic, but how is nationalizing our country's banks in any way making them democratic?